Hey guys, welcome back to the video. In this video is my top 10 most anticipated TV shows for 2023. Last year I started watching a lot more TV shows, including 2022 series, but I also binged a bunch of shows that have new seasons coming out in 2023. So here are the shows that I'm most excited for. Quickly before we get into my top 10, right outside of my top 10 lies Ahsoka. This is a show that I'm interested in because I like The Mandalorian and I like their inclusion in it, but I haven't seen any of the other Star Wars projects, including Ahsoka. So I'll be watching the series. I'm just not over the moon about it. But before we get into my top 10, as always, let me know your top 10 most anticipated shows of the year in the comments down below. But without wasting more time, let's get right into it. Starting it off in 10th place for me is Gen V, The Boys spin-off show. I don't have many thoughts on this one. I mean, we got a trailer, but just in general, you guys know I absolutely love The Boys on Amazon Prime Video. I rewatched all the seasons before season 3. Season 3 is one of my favorite seasons of superhero television ever. And at the end of the day, the show is just so much fun that I can't not be excited for Gen V. Along with that, apparently it's going to directly tie in to The Boys season 4, which we should be getting sometime in 2024. So I'm super excited to see how this universe expands. I do think it's a little bit funny though, how they make The Boys universe makes fun of like spin-offs and stuff like that, and they're doing just that. But I think it works here, and I hope they have some like internal jokes about it. I think that would be kind of funny, but nevertheless, I love The Boys universe a lot, especially just the show, and so I'm excited to see what spin-offs can come about this, because I also really enjoyed The Boys Diabolical. So Gen V definitely has my attention. In 9th place though is one that's coming out in just a few weeks here, which is The Last of Us HBO Max series. The reason it's lower on this list is because I haven't played through the game. As you guys saw, I have reacted to all of the trailers and stuff like that, so I am very excited for this show, and I will be covering on a week-to-week basis along with all these other shows. So if you see a show on this list that you're anticipating and you want to hear all of my thoughts on it, make sure to subscribe, because I'll be covering all of these week to week. But nevertheless, back to The Last of Us. I am very excited for this show just because I've heard a lot about the lore, and it seems like something that's very interesting and something that I would personally like, and that's why I'm going to be watching it. I plan to play the game at some point. I started playing it a little bit, but then I got to a point where I was like, I kind of just want to watch the show and get the story from that, and then maybe I'll play the games after. But for me in general, I'm more of a movie ahead of whether it's books or video games. I'm a movie over all other types of media, and show over other types of media, and so I really like the video format of it. So I'm excited for this show, and then I'll probably play the game after to see how they compare. In 8th place for me though is Ted Lasso season 3. Ted Lasso was one of the shows that I binged in 2022, finished the show in one weekend. I absolutely adore it, and my favorite part about the show is how they have these amazing overarching arcs through like both seasons and multiple stories throughout a bunch of different episodes, and they're not always back to back to back, but they always end up going back to characters, and I'm so excited to see the future of this world. But I'm also a little bit nervous because Jason Sudeikis, I think that's how you pronounce his name, the lead actor for the show, there was some news about them having to rewrite a lot of season 3 to fit different constraints and stuff like that. So yes, that has me a little bit nervous, but other than that, I'm still very, very excited for the show. I'm not a big fan of soccer either, and so I just turned on this show randomly because my friends recommended it to me, and I ended up really enjoying it, and I was really surprised that I enjoyed it. So I'm surprised this is even on the list, but nevertheless, I will be covering the show 100% week to week, because this show was an exhilarating ride just binging it, so I couldn't even imagine watching it week to week and having to wait for every single episode. Next up on the list in 7th place for me is Secret Invasion. This is the Marvel Disney Plus TV show. I am so excited for this show. Winter Soldier, all of the Captain America vibes were in the trailer for Secret Invasion, and so I am so excited to see where this series goes. After Captain Marvel, though I wasn't a fan of the movie, I was excited to see where the Skrulls were going to go, what their storyline was going to be. Were they going to do Secret Invasion as the next big Marvel event after Infinity War and Endgame? That doesn't really seem to be the case, but it seems like they'll be doing that on a more miniature level within Secret Invasion this show, and so I'm excited to see how this plays out. Again, it seems like it's going to be the Captain America thriller, a little bit lower to the ground level type of thing, and so I'm very excited. Just that side of me that loves that type of Marvel content that's really going to be fulfilled for me. But on top of that, Samuel L. Jackson is going to be in this show. He is amazing in the MCU, and I'm excited to see his character actually be treated like a main character rather than just someone that supports and builds up. So I'm very excited to see what this show brings to the table. And not a lot of Marvel shows really made this list. There's only 2 total on this list, but this is one of them that just has me excited from the premise, the vibes of the trailer, and just honestly what the potential really is. In 6th place for me though is The Mandalorian Season 3. I wasn't really covering superhero slash movie stuff on the channel when The Mandalorian Season 2 came out, and so I didn't really get to express my thoughts on it, but overall I absolutely love the show. Some of the best Star Wars content that we've had in years and years and years. I love Mandalorian, I love Grogu, I love the lore of the Mandalorians, the Mandalore, and just in general, as someone who just watched all the Star Wars movies for the first time and watched the Mandalorian with no prior Star Wars knowledge, I really like this independent world that they've built up, and it seems like Season 3, at least it'll hopefully be shying away from what the end of Season 2 did and the Book of Boba Fett has been doing, which is really tying back into the Skywalker saga. I think it's tying in a little bit too much, and we kind of need to go back to that Season 1 vibe, but I think this one will definitely be more, instead of focusing on Skywalker based characters, it'll be all of Mandalore. Like, I feel like from the trailer that we've gotten at least, and my minimal Star Wars knowledge, I really do feel like we're gonna get a very lore filled and packed season, and we're gonna actually get to understand the meaning and the lore behind the Mandalorian and his people and these characters that were introduced in Season 2 but not too fleshed out because they had other priorities by the end of the season. I'm really excited to see where all of it leads just in terms of the Mandalorian and everything around him. Before we get into my top 5, as always, let me know your most anticipated shows for next year in the comments down below. But in 5th place for me is The Bear Season 2. Now, it's not 100% confirmed if it's coming out in 2023 if I'm not mistaken, but I'm 99% sure from all of the stuff I've read, most people are saying it's coming out in 2023. And if it is my 5th most anticipated, because The Bear is an absolutely phenomenal show. I literally watched this show like 3 weeks before filming this video, and I absolutely love it. It's in my top 5 favorite shows of 2022 as well. They do such an amazing job building a bunch of tension, but also giving us underlying character motives to not like take away from all of this tension that's at the very forefront of all of our problems. And at the end of the day, it's also a very deep story. It's a deep story that has a lot of loss and a lot of grief at the center of it, but it like expresses it all through cooking, and it expresses it all through the kitchen, which is something I'd never expect. And I like watching cooking shows like our regular British bake-offs, stuff like that. I'm into that stuff, but I'm not really into like the super intense Gordon Ramsay type stuff.
You're full of because every time you got something wrong, you give a bullshit excuse. Well, right now, I'm fed up with your bullshit excuses.
And that's what this felt like, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, they make like the food making process such a great expression for the real world problems going on in this show that you just can't help but be like, this is a banger. Moving up the list though, in 4th place for me is Succession Season 4. Now, I do want to note, I'm not done with Succession Season 3 yet. I'm about halfway done with this season, but from what I've seen so far, Succession Season 4 is going to be absolutely insane. I haven't gotten the ending of Season 3 spoiled for me just yet, but if you've seen Succession, let me know what you think about the show as a whole in the comments, because I don't really hear much discourse about it outside of Twitter. So I'm very excited to see where the show goes from here, at least from the point that I'm still watching it from, and I will be watching it and 100% covering it week to week, because I've actually just been binging this show for like the last year and a half, and so I've never really gotten to experience it week for week and actually understand like that tension, because these episodes are packed. I mean, from the first second to the final second, they are hour and 3 to 4 minute long episodes, and those 4 minutes are the credits. Like, it's a full hour length. So with slight spoilers for the first seasons of Succession, but we kind of get thrown into this whole world with the fact that Logan Roy is very sick and he might die, and like, who's gonna take on the business and stuff like that. So I was like, oh yeah, it'll take like 4 or 5 episodes for this to get resolved. You know, it's very layered. Literally within 3 episodes, they solve that singular story because it's full 1 hour length episodes. And I absolutely love that. Also, I'm not that into business. I'm not that into finance, but this show blends comedy, it blends this amazing internal action and drama. You have so many different elements, and this show balances it so well within such a grandiose runtime that I just think season 4, and so far the show has done this, is going to be elevating each season more and more. Season 2 is better than season 1, and season 3 so far is looking to be better than season 2. And so if season 3 is as good as everyone's been saying and what I've heard, then season 4 is going to be generational television. Moving up the list though, in 3rd place for me is Barry season 4, another show that I binged within 2022. Watched this entire show in literally like 4 days. I have a full review of seasons 1 through 3 up on my YouTube channel with my best friend if you guys want to check that out. But this show is amazing. It's one of my favorite shows of 2022 as well. But Barry season 3 does this amazing thing, and no spoilers for the ending of it because it's absolutely insane. But I think it is such an amazing thing with the characters, and it gives you so much hope for everyone and everything, and boom, it just tears it all down. Everything is gone in a split second, and I love the way that they build tension, and they use this literally goofy premise to actually give you something super entertaining and something that you would never think, oh, this is going to be entertaining. That was not on my radar at all. And then by the end of season 3, my jaw was on the ground. My only concern for season 4 is really, how do they follow up season 3? Where does the story go from here without making it feel like it's dragged on too long? It's another issue that I'm starting to have with like the future of the Boys franchise, and not that I'm having right now, but like I'm starting to like feel that, okay, like how much longer can you have Butcher versus Homelander, and how much longer can you have this back and forth without making it seem weird and just dragged on? It's the same thing for Barry. The same problem is that, okay, we have a pretty well concluded show in season 3. Like, if the season 3 finale was the end of the show forever, I would honestly be pretty pleased with how the show ended. It would have been one of the few shows that sticks a series finale, but they're going on. They have more story to tell, so I'm inherently very excited and interested in it. My second most anticipated show for 2023 is Loki season 2. Now, my number 1 and number 2 are neck and neck, to be honest, but Loki season 2 makes the very top of this list strictly because I'm an MCU fan to my core, and Loki season 1 is the best Marvel Disney Plus show in my opinion, and I know that's not that high of a bar because most of the shows aren't that great. They're pretty average, but Loki season 1 really blew my mind, and I'm so excited to see where they go. My main thing with Loki season 1 was the fact that Kang was literally just in the finale, and he had such an amazing premise, and it's not going to be Kang in season 2, and I don't expect that, but I expect another great mystery, a multiversal mystery, and characters that are just as compelling as season 1. You have Mobius, Ravonna, Sylvie, and obviously Loki at the forefront here. You have so many amazing characters and this lore of the TVA and this mystery that is ongoing. I know that a lot of people don't like the fact that the MCU is becoming so separated, that everyone's getting their own little projects and they're not really focusing towards one big thing. I think what Loki season 1 did really well was it introduced us to Kang, which is like the bigger picture, because obviously we have Kang Dynasty coming out, which is an Avengers movie, but it also gave us not only these personal character moments, but explored the multiverse in a way that makes it feel honestly kind of like a horror realm of a Marvel project. I also really hope that this show ends up actually like being like season 1 and they don't try to change up what they did in season 1. Like, obviously you have to change up the story, you have to continue the mystery, but I really like the way that they like explored characters. And since you've already explored so many characters and you don't need to introduce like a million more here, you already have your character set. all you have to do now is tell us a great mystery. And I think season 1 balanced that really well. Even though they had introduced us to brand new characters, you had that amazing mystery of who's running the TVA, what is like this multiversal thing. We still don't have a lot of those multiversal elements explained, and so I'm excited to see how this mystery really plays out. But with that being said, my #1 most anticipated show for 2023 is Invincible Season 2. We were pretty much dead silent on news for this show for the longest time, but the Amazon Prime Twitter account did confirm that we'll be getting some new footage or content or some sort of update on season 2 in January of this year. And so I am so excited. We don't even know when it's going to release. I don't think it's going to be releasing in summer, strictly because it does seem like the Gen V Boys spin-off show will be releasing in summer. So we might even be getting this show in spring, which would be absolutely amazing. But nevertheless, I'm so excited for Invincible Season 2. I did cover all of Invincible Season 1 on the channel, so if you guys are interested in all of my thoughts on that, you can check out the playlist linked somewhere on screen right now. But I am so excited for this season just because I think season 1 story-wise was really, really great, right? I'm not an avid reader of the Invincible comics. I've actually read volume 1 and that's pretty much it. Like I haven't read anything else of the series, and I don't plan to, because I kind of want to experience it for the first time through the show, because I love all of the voice actors. I love the action. I just love where this series is headed. And the fact that we're like not even a big chunk into the Invincible lore, there is so much that they can do with this world. And the end of season 1 just proved that. Hopefully they're getting a higher budget for seasons 2 and 3, and they're just leveling up all of the amazing aspects of season 1. Season 1, I mean, I'm not one to criticize animation and stuff like that because I know it's very difficult, but it definitely was a little bit choppier, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because it's the first season. They don't know how well it's going to perform, but the show performed pretty well, so hopefully they're hiring the budget. Hopefully they're making a little bit more quality on it, and we really got nothing about it this year, so it just seems like they were super hard at work. If I'm not mistaken, they're making seasons 2 and 3 at the same exact time, and so I'm excited to see what the release schedule looks like. Maybe they'll be releasing closer together than season 1 and 2 did, so I'm excited to see how everything plays out in terms of just the release, when we're getting trailers. But nevertheless, expect full coverage on this show on the channel because I am so excited to finally talk more Invincible. But guys, that's it for my top 10 most anticipated TV shows of 2023. I know last year I mainly only covered like the Marvel TV shows and stuff like that, and this year I'll be doing the same thing. Expect week-to-week breakdowns and reviews and all that kind of stuff on Marvel shows and Star Wars shows, but also the shows I mentioned on this list that aren't the big IP ones. I'll be covering a lot more of them this year. I binged them all last year for a reason. I'm so excited to talk more about all of these shows. So as always, if you guys are new around here and you want to see all my movie and TV show reviews, reactions, and breakdowns, make sure to subscribe and notification on so you don't miss any time I upload a video or go live. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.